Welcome to Lost Relation Chronicles. There's no good reason to be in someone else's notes app. I'll admit that up front. No one opens that little yellow icon expecting to feel good afterward. Best case scenario, you find a grocery list or some weird half-finished poem. Worst case, you find out the person you're planning to marry has been mentally rehearsing how to break you. I found the worst-case version, but I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm Edward. I'm 32. I'm a graphic designer. Pretty chill, average guy. I'm not flashy, not insecure. I've got a good group of friends, a solid freelance business, and I'll always choose a night and over a loud bar. I was engaged to Angela. She's 29. You'd like her. Most people do. She's funny, smart, social in a way that's hard to pull off without seeming fake. She could make a whole room lean in just by telling a story about finding a lost sock. Always knew what to say. Hell, she could sell air to a drowning man. And for a while I thought I'd won the damn lottery. We were together for 4 years. Moved in after 1. Got engaged right after year 3. Wedding was supposed to be in 6 months. At first, everything felt solid, real. We shared Spotify playlists, binge-watched the same trash TV, swapped little sticky notes with dumb messages on the fridge like, "Don't forget you're my favorite weirdo." Stuff like that. And sure, I wasn't blind. I knew Angela liked to stay connected. She kept in touch with old friends, exes, co-workers, probably even her ex's dogs. She was one of those people who never fully lets go of anyone. Like she had an emotional filing cabinet and nobody ever got tossed out. I never made a big deal out of it. I'm not the jealous type. I figured if she was with me, she was with me. Simple. But a few months ago, I started noticing things, subtle things. Her phone would light up and she'd angle it away. Not obvious, just enough to make it annoying, like I wasn't supposed to notice. I remember one night we were on the couch, eating takeout, watching a documentary about deep sea fish or something equally unromantic. Her phone lit up some message. I glanced at it reflexively. Human instinct, right? She turned the screen down. "Everything okay?" I asked, kind of offhand. "Yeah," she said too fast. "Just Stephanie being dramatic again." "You know how she is?" I nodded. "But here's the thing. Stephanie isn't dramatic. Angela always said she was the most grounded person she knew." Then she started taking calls with her AirPods in. No more speakerphone, no more. "Hey babe, listen to this." Just sudden laughter from across the apartment. Her head turned, hand half covering her mouth. And then the tone shift. It was like I was a coworker. She was being polite to. Not rude, not cold. Just distant. Like her emotional thermostat had dropped a few degrees and I was supposed to pretend I didn't feel it. "Hey, do you want to go to that Korean barbecue place on Friday?" I asked one evening while we were brushing our teeth. She didn't look up from the mirror. "Maybe depends if I'm not exhausted from work." That was new. We used to make time even when we were exhausted. Still, I didn't say anything. I'm not that guy. I figured she was just stressed. Wedding stuff, work stuff. We were planning a destination wedding in Tulum, which sounds romantic until you're neck deep in group rates, flights, itineraries, and trying to stop a borderline unhinged cousin from wearing white to your wedding because it's summer-themed. Angela was juggling it all. Vendors, bridesmaids, family drama, hotel coordination, her job on top of that. So yeah, I chalked her distance up to being overwhelmed. Not every cold shoulder is a red flag, right? Then came the night. We were home, winding down. Thai food night, pad Q for me, green curry for her, spring rolls to split. Angela was ordering on her phone, scrolling through the delivery app, mumbling to herself like, "Wait, did we want sticky rice or mango rice?" Halfway through, her phone rang. She glanced at it, then handed it to me. "Just add your usual and finish checking out," she said, already standing up. "I need to take this. Totally normal. We've done that plenty of times before." But when I unlocked her phone, it didn't go straight to the ordering app. It opened to notes. And not just notes, a note titled, "If he finds out," I froze. Now look, before you judge me, yeah, I could have just backed out and found the DoorDash screen or whatever. But let's be real. If someone literally names a node, if he finds out, curiosity doesn't knock politely and wait to be invited in. It kicks the door open. I tapped it. The first thing I saw wasn't a message, it was a script. If he was a real man, I wouldn't still be texting my ex. I just blinked at it for a second, not sure if I read it right. I kept scrolling. This isn't about cheating, it's about feeling emotionally starved. You stopped challenging me. You made things comfortable instead of passionate. I didn't do anything wrong. You just weren't enough. It wasn't just a message, it was a whole damn strategy. Multiple drafts, paragraphs with line breaks, alternate phrasings like she was running ALB tests on my heartbreak. There were bullet points. One section literally said, "Choose one of the following depending on his reaction." I read that line 3 times. My mouth actually went dry, and that's when it hit me. I wasn't living with my fiancée. I was sharing a lease with a crisis PR manager preparing for a personal scandal. I scrolled further. That was the worst part. I chose to keep going, like peeling back a bandage, knowing the wound underneath isn't even trying to heal. She had exit strategies, places she could stay, excuses to give her parents, a line about controlling the timeline of the breakup, so I don't look messy. She wasn't planning to confess. She was planning to perform, and she'd already decided I'd be the villain. I didn't scroll anymore. I didn't need to. My hands were shaking, but somehow I backed out of notes, tapped into the food delivery app, and submitted the order just like that. Like nothing had happened. Then quietly, with my stomach, doing slow flips, I opened my email, attached the note, and forwarded it to myself. Subject line: WTF is this? 15 minutes later, Angela walked back in, wineglass in hand, phone still in the other like it had grown roots there. She was smiling. "That was just my cousin again," she said, sinking onto the couch. Still going on about the no white rule. Like, "Girl, this is my wedding, not an ice cream party." She laughed, grabbed the remote, and started scrolling through Netflix. "Ooh, they dropped a new season of Marry Me Blind. Want to watch dumb people propose to each other behind walls." She looked over at me and winked, and I watched her laugh. I watched her sip her wine with one hand, thumb out a text with the other like she hadn't just been planning a premeditated emotional hit job 15 minutes ago. All I could think was, "You're preparing to stab me in the back," and then ask for applause. But I didn't say anything that night or the next. I needed to be sure. I needed more than just rage and disbelief. I needed clarity strategy. So I started watching. Really watching. First thing I did was double-check her iCloud settings. Turns out her Notes app was backed up automatically. So I synced it to my desktop quietly, carefully. Then I exported PDFs of every version of that note, every draft, every tweak, every deleted bullet point. I timestamped the saves, uploaded them to a secure cloud folder, labeled it Angela Exit Strategy Raw. I wasn't planning to use them, not yet. But I wasn't going to let her own the story. Next, I got smart with the texts. I didn't go through her phone again. I'm not trying to make this a full-time creep gig, but I got strategic. One afternoon, Angela was FaceTiming one of her bridesmaids, Claire, the one with the blue streak in, her hair and zero filter. I waited till the call ended, then casually floated the question, "So has Angela been talking to her ex lately? I feel like I saw a DM pop up the other day. Or maybe I'm just losing my mind." I said it like it was nothing, like I didn't already know. Claire paused just long enough to answer without answering. Then she tilted her head and asked, "Why do you ask?" That's all I needed. If there was nothing there, it would have been a simple no or a God. But why do you ask? That's guilt with lip gloss. Angela had built herself an emotional backup plan, a self-exonerating exit speech, a justification system. I had the receipts. Now I just needed a reason to hit play. 3 days later, Angela handed it to me, gift-wrapped. We were at this trendy rooftop brunch spot she'd been obsessing over for weeks because they did Chua waffles and the lighting was unreal. I was halfway through my cold brew when she leaned across the table, all bright eyes and wedding energy. What if we did one of those pre-wedding videos, she said, brushing her hair behind her ear. Like our story, how we met, what we love about each other. We could play it at the rehearsal dinner. I blinked. She kept going like she was on a roll. We could shoot it in that park where we had our first picnic. Maybe even get a drone shot or two. You're good at editing, right? And I almost laughed. It was perfect. She wanted to hand me the camera and the script, so I played dumb. Yeah, that could be cool. I said I'd have to find someone to shoot it, though. Actually, crap. My debit card got flagged last night. That sketchy pizza place charged me like for times. Got a hold on my account while they sorted out. She gave me a side eye. So what? I pay for it just for now. I said, I'll Venmo you next week. She rolled her eyes but shrugged. Fine, but I want this to be good, okay? Like real quality, not some shaky iPhone nonsense. I nodded. Totally. Cinematic. She picked the videographer herself. Found him on Instagram. Young, scruffy, obsessed with lens flares and ambient piano music. His bio said he was building his portfolio like that justified the $1,400 quote. We booked it that night. Then I messaged him privately. I kept it direct. Hey man, I know this sounds weird, but there's something you need to know. The shoot is real, but there's a second half I need your help with. What I'm about to send you might sound insane, but I promise it's real. Then I attached screenshots from her notes app, a PDF with timestamps. A short explanation she's planning to break it off with me, and she's already rehearsed how to spin it. I just want the truth documented. 20 minutes later, he replied, Holy, I'm in. We scheduled the shoot for 2 weeks out. In the meantime, I started putting my own exit strategy into motion quietly, carefully, the way you'd evacuate a building you knew was wired to blow. Step 1. Move things slowly. I began transferring my essentials, hard drives, passport, birth certificate, social security card, my grandfather's cufflinks, anything I'd regret losing, into a small storage unit I rented near my office. It wasn't much, just a 5x5, but it felt like planting a flag outside enemy territory. I ordered a P.O. box and started rerouting my bank mail. That was easy. Changing my Amazon address took longer. Angela had opinions about my packaging habits, but I played it off as work stuff, just trying to separate things. I called the wedding venue and pretended I was double-checking a detail about the seating chart. While I had them, I casually asked what it would take to remove my name from the contract. They said as long as I was the secondary SNE, I could be removed without her approval. I did it immediately, hung up, and felt lighter. Next came the DJ. I scheduled a meeting under the guise of tweaking the playlist. Hey, I said, sitting across from him at the cafe. Angela and I are just reevaluating a few things. Nothing crazy, just logistics, timing, life. He gave me that polite, vaguely empathetic nod. Wedding vendors reserved for couples on the brink. No worries, he said. I smiled. Actually, a friend of mine is getting married this fall and loved your vibe. Any chance I can just transfer the deposit over to them? He barely blinked. Sure, if they lock in a date within the month. Done. By the end of that week, my name was off every major contract, venue, DJ, florist, even the baker who, by the way, upcharges a crime for edible glitter. The only one I left untouched was the photographer. That one I let ride. I wanted her to think everything was still rolling, still safe, still ours. Shoot day. We met Adam, the videographer, in the park around noon. He was tall, soft-spoken, looked like he filmed nature docs in Iceland on weekends. He gave Angela a gentle, "You look amazing," and she beamed like he'd just announced she was being cast in a movie. She wore this long, flowy ivory dress that caught the wind just right. She made me match light blue button-up I hadn't worn since our engagement shoot. She fluffed my sleeves and said, "You clean up, okay, babe?" I smiled. "Only for you." Adam started rolling. We walked hand in hand under the trees, fake laughing on cue. She told a fabricated story about how we met. "You slid into my DMs," she said. I chuckled. "You paid me to stop deeming you." We both laughed. It looked cute on camera. I'll give us that. We filmed a picnic scene by the lake. I unpacked sandwiches we didn't eat. Adam caught shots of us toasting sparkling water like champagne. Then we moved to that mural downtown. She loves the one with the giant coish. She wanted a shot there ever since we got engaged. We kissed for the camera. We danced without music. We smiled like a Pinterest success story. She was glowing. "This is going to be so good," she said, swiping through Adam's preview footage. "Seriously, thank you for going along with this. It means so much." She looked at me with real emotion, maybe even guilt, but I couldn't be sure. I'd stopped trying to read between her lines. I leaned in, kissed her on the cheek, held her gaze, for a second longer than I needed to. Then I said, "Anything for us?" That night I met Adam at this little 24-hour diner just off the interstate. You know the type: chrome siding, burnt coffee. A waitress named Donna who's been working the graveyard shift since Clinton was in office. Felt like the right place to pass off something with this much weight. I slid into the booth. Adam was already there, hoodie pulled up, laptop bag by his side. He looked more tired than usual, like he'd aged 10 years since the shoot. I reached into my backpack and pulled out a manila folder, label on the front, B-side footage. He looked at it like it might explode. Inside I'd included the original screenshots from her Notes app, a PDF version with my annotations and timeline, a voice recording I made the night Angela had that wine-fueled phone call with her friend, gushing about how she and her ex still had a spark, how she wondered if maybe in another life. In the centerpiece, a raw video of me standing alone in the same park, reading her speech, her exit speech, word for word, directly into the camera. I didn't cry, didn't flinch, just read it like I was reading a eulogy. In a way, I was. Adam opened his laptop right there in the booth and plugged in his headphones. I sipped on my coffee while he watched it, his expression unreadable. When the final clip ended, he sat still for a beat. Then he pulled off the headphones and looked me dead in the eye. "This is going to hurt." I nodded. "That's the point. We agreed on the format right there. Cut 2 versions. Start with the happy, vanilla 2-minute montage, music soft focus, fairy tale fluff. Then at the midpoint, hard switch to the second version. Her words, my face, the receipts. He said he'd have it ready in a few days. He exported it as a single file and uploaded it to a private unlisted YouTube link. I watched it twice that night. The second time, I didn't blink. The week before the dinner, Angela was in full bride mode. The type of energy you only get from someone who believes the universe is conspiring in their favor. She had a spreadsheet for everything, color-coded tabs. Pinterest boards labeled things like modern romantic whimsy and bridal, the best checklist, with items like order signature cocktail stir sticks, confirm playlist vibe consistency research laser-cut place cards. I played along, smiled, nodded, told her Adam was still tweaking a few things. "I have a plan for the premiere," I said casually, one morning while we were brushing our teeth. "Why don't we show it at your parents' place? Make it a family moment. I'll bring the projector. We'll play it like a little movie night." Her eyes lit up, toothbrush still in her mouth. "Oh my God, yes. My mom will cry like so cry." Exactly. Her parents were sentimental to the core. Her dad cried at car commercials. Her mom kept all of Angela's childhood drawings in a laminated binder she once called the archive. To them, a pre-wedding video was the peak of romance. We picked a date. Friday evening, casual dinner, just the inner circle. Her parents, her younger sister, Angela, me. She called it a little preview celebration. Perfect. 2 nights before the dinner, we were curled up on the couch. She was tucked into me, head resting on my shoulder, scrolling through wedding dresses she knew damn what we couldn't afford. Her other hand was busy tagging her bridesmaids in memes about grooms, who are too chill to care. She held up her phone and laughed. "You really are too chill," she said. "You've been so calm lately. It's kinda sexy." I smiled, tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. "I've just been focused, trying to get things right." She kissed me soft and sweet, the kind of kiss people write songs about. Then she leaned back against me and went back to scrolling. I watched her for a few seconds, longer than normal. She was lying there scrolling through her phone, humming along softly to a song I didn't recognize. She looked peaceful, content. The corners of her mouth lifted every now and then when she saw something funny. She tagged her bridesmaids, giggled to herself, sent heart emojis, and for a moment, you could almost forget, almost. But I knew, and she had no idea what was coming. Day of the dinner, I stopped by Adam's place around noon. His apartment always smelled like incense and HDMI cords. He pulled the blind shut to make the room dark enough for the projector test. No small talk. He just plugged in the flash drive and pressed play. The opening was dreamy. Sweet golden hour shots. The lake. The mural. Angela laughing, twirling, glowing like a Pinterest board that had come to life. Our fake meet-cute dialogue playing over soft indie folk music. Then, right at the 2-minute mark, the screen dipped to black silence. Then a Notes app screen appeared, scrolling slowly through her own words. The tone shift was immediate, like stepping off a cliff. No narration, no flair, just cold facts. Her voice, her speech, her truth in my mouth. My favorite part, though, what I knew would break the room, was the final scene. It cut to me standing alone right where we filmed the picnic. Same shirt, same time of day, no background music, just the rustling of wind through the trees, like the park itself had gone quiet for what I was about to say. I looked straight into the camera. If he was a real man, I wouldn't still be texting my ex. I let it hang in the air for a second like a wound. Then I continued. This isn't about cheating. It's about feeling emotionally starved. I read the whole thing, line for line, word for word, her speech without flinching. No added commentary, no anger, just delivery. Like an actor reading a monologue written by the person who betrayed him. And then at the end, you don't get to write both parts of the story. So I figured I'd tell yours for you. Cut to black. No. Outro music, no credits, just a slow, quiet fade. Adam exhaled, through his nose, and handed me the flash drive. "Good luck," he said quietly. I slipped it into my pocket. Won't need it. That night, Angela was glowing. She came out of the bedroom in an off-white blouse, gold earrings catching the light like tiny fireflies. She'd done her makeup just enough, light shimmer, curled lashes. She looked like she was dressing for the video's aesthetic, like she wanted to match what she thought was about to be her cinematic moment. "Is this too much?" she asked, twirling. I shook my head. "You look perfect." Her mom had made homemade lasagna, rich, cheesy, bubbling at the edges. The good kind, where every bite tastes like a memory. Her dad was already fiddling with the Bluetooth speaker, playing that soft, jazzy love. The kind you hear in wine bars and coffee shops in moments when nothing feels broken yet. Her sister brought cupcakes with white frosting and gold flakes on top. Angela's color palette. They looked like they belonged in a magazine spread. We sat around the table, plates full, glasses clinking. We laughed about old stories. Her dad told a joke that made her mom roll her eyes. Her sister showed us pictures of a dog she was thinking about adopting. It was warm, wholesome, the kind of night that would have made a great memory. Toward the end of dinner, as plates cleared and the Bluetooth jazz hummed softly under the buzz of post-lasagna contentment, I stood up and clinked at my glass. Okay, I said, smiling as I pulled the flash drive from my pocket. Time for the main event. The room responded with small claps and playful cheers. Angela beamed beside me, that proud kind of grin someone wears when they know they're about to be adored. She tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear and mouth, finally. I walked over to the entertainment stand and bent down to plug in the drive. The projector lit up the opposite wall with a soft glow. I dimmed the lights. The air shifted. Angela leaned in toward me and whispered, I haven't even seen the final cut yet. I glanced at her. She bit her lip. I'm going to cry. I smiled and gently kissed her temple. You probably will. I clicked play. The video began exactly how she imagined it. Gentle piano music, a slow pan of us holding hands in the park, walking under trees like two people perfectly edited into a dream. The color grading made everything look like a movie. Sunset tones, soft filters, the golden hour fantasy. Then B-roll. Angela laughing, pretending to lose a game of Uno we staged for the camera. She threw her hands in the air in faux frustration, her hair catching the light. The voice overplayed, sweet and warm. Angela's voice recorded during the shoot. We've been through so much together. I always say, our relationship is built on honesty, communication, and knowing how to grow together. I watched her mom dab at her eye with a napkin. Her dad nodded at the screen, his arm around his wife. Her sister leaned against the arm of the couch, smiling at us with that wistful look people get when they think they're witnessing something rare and true. Beside me, Angela had one hand on my knee, tapping her fingers gently, maybe timing the music in her head, or just caught in the rhythm of the moment. Her other hand clutched a tissue she hadn't needed yet. Then came the photos, baby pictures of us both, my awkward bull cut, her missing front teeth in a Halloween princess costume, then shots of us together, birthdays, vacations, a blurry brunch, selfie in New Orleans. Everything curated, romanticized, sanitized. She leaned closer, voice a whisper. This is perfect. I nodded slowly. Just wait. 228. The screen flickered. The music cut. Everything stilled. White text appeared on a black background. A second version always existed. She just didn't expect you to see it. It was like someone had pulled the oxygen from the room. The soft jazz speaker let out a quiet pop of static, then silence. Then came the screen recording. A scroll through. The iPhone Notes app. Title at the top. If he finds out, then line by line, the words rolled across the screen, pausing after each one like they needed time to settle. If he was a real man, I wouldn't still be texting my ex. This isn't about cheating. It's about feeling emotionally starved. You stopped challenging me. You made things comfortable instead of passionate. I didn't do anything wrong. You just weren't enough. Each sentence landed like a weight. I didn't move. Angela's hand, still resting on my knee, froze, fingers limp, unmoving. Her mom slowly turned her head to look at her daughter, eyebrows furrowed, mouth half open. Angela, what is this? The room had gone so still, it felt like even the air didn't. Nowhere to go. Then came the texts. The video cut to a slow scroll of screenshots, her actual messages to her ex. At first they were innocuous, a casual, "Hey, stranger," a shared meme, something about how she missed having someone who got her. I could feel Angela tensing beside me like she wanted to reach forward and yank the projector cord straight out of the wall. But she didn't move. Her body had gone cold, rigid. All the warmth she carried into the room that night drained out of her, as if the screen was pulling it from her by force. Then the messages changed tone. Flirting. Regret. A message time-stamped. Just 6 weeks ago. I'm just trying to wait it out until I can leave clean. Her dad sat back in his chair, arms crossing over his chest. No words, just a long breath through his nose. Her sister whispered something under her breath. I couldn't catch it. Didn't need to. And then cut again. The screen faded to the lake. That same spot we shot the picnic B-roll back when the lie still had enough air in it to float. Same lake, same shirt, me alone, no music, just the rustle of wind, the occasional bird in the distance. I was standing still, centered, looking directly into the lens like I had nothing to hide because I didn't. And then I spoke. Calm as still water. If he was a real man, I wouldn't still be texting my ex. Angela gasped. It wasn't performative. It was that kind of guttural reaction you get when your body registers betrayal before your brain catches up. like she'd been punched in the ribs by her own voice. No music, no credits, no fade out, just darkness and the steady ringing silence of a room that had just watched a fairy tale burn down to its bones. I stood up slowly, reached into my pocket, and pulled out my phone. I tapped the screen once, turned off. I didn't need it on for what came next. "Thanks for dinner," I said, looking at no one in particular. Then I turned to Angela. "Oh, and Angela." I slipped the phone into my jacket. "I canceled the venue. My name was still on it. You'll probably want to let them know if you still want to keep the date, with someone else." She opened her mouth like she was going to say something. Maybe plead, maybe lash out. I'll never know, but I didn't give her the space. I walked to the front door. No yelling, no slammed fists, no big monologue, just steps and silence. I left her with the audience just like she rehearsed. She wanted a moment. She got one. The door clicked shut behind me. I got into my car, backed out of the driveway, and didn't even glance at the living room window. And I didn't turn my phone back on for 12 hours. When I finally turned my phone back on, it lit up like Vegas. 35 voicemails, 22 unread texts, 5 missed calls from her mom, 1 from her dad, a couple from numbers I didn't recognize, probably bridesmaids or friends trying to mediate. For a second, I just stared at the screen as it buzzed itself into exhaustion. Felt like holding a grenade made of guilt, denial, and last-minute bargaining. I didn't even open the texts. I went straight to voicemail. The first one was a whisper. "Hey, can we talk? I don't know what that was. If this is about, can we please just talk?" She sounded unsure, like she thought she could pretend the whole thing was a misunderstanding if she used the right tone. The second voicemail hit faster, more defensive. "You blindsided me. You humiliated me in front of my family. That was so unfair." That one got a chuckle out of me. Bitter and quiet. Unfair. Like the script she wrote in secret had fairness as a theme. By voicemail 6, the edge in her voice gave out. She was crying. I didn't feel triumphant, just tired. By voicemail 12, she was apologizing. "I messed up. Okay, I know I messed up, but you didn't have to do it like that. Edward, please, that was rich." I thought this from the same woman who had rehearsed a breakup monologue months ago, like it was a TED Talk. She was going to deliver it over wine and candlelight, probably cry halfway through to show how hard it was for her. She wanted to walk away clean, hurt me in a way that made her the one we should feel sorry for. Voicemail 15 cracked something deeper. It was the first time she told the truth, even if she didn't realize it. "You don't understand how scared I was that you'd leave me once you figured it out. That's why I was trying to control it." There it was. Not fear of losing me. Fear of losing control of the story. She hadn't planned a breakup. She'd planned the narrative of one. I was supposed to be the emotionally distant boyfriend who just didn't get her anymore. She wanted people to say, "Wow, she really tried. He just checked out." She didn't expect me to pick up the pen. She never imagined I'd flip the script on her mid-scene. I didn't respond to the voicemails. I didn't need to. The video had said everything. Clean, direct, surgical, but word spread. Not because I posted it. God, no. I didn't leak it online or blast it on socials. That was never the point. Still, these things have a way of moving. Her mom told her sister told the cousin told the bridesmaid. By the end of the week, people started asking Angela if she was okay. Not because she was heartbroken, but because the image she'd curated had cracked. In public. The guy she'd been texting, the ex, I sent him a link. No commentary, no insults. Just the part with the notes, app, and the speech. The quiet part that Angela never thought would be spoken aloud. I attached a single message. Figured, you should know what you're walking into. I never heard back from him. Angela's ex, the one she'd been texting behind my back. No reply, no message, just silence. Like he'd seen the truth and decided it was safer to ghost the whole situation. I didn't blame him. Angela's life didn't implode. Her job didn't fire her. She didn't get publicly shamed or canceled, but something quieter happened, something slower. People started stepping back. She stopped getting invited to group hangouts. Little traditions she used to be at the center of bottomless brunches, lake trips, birthday bar crawls kept happening, just without her name on the invite list. I heard about it from mutuals. Not on purpose, just casual mentions that landed a little heavier than they were meant to. One of her bridesmaids quietly unfollowed her. No drama, no statement, just disappeared. From her follower count, another one posted a cryptic tweet that made its way to me. Be careful who you practice speeches for. You might end up in the audience. No names, no tags, but she knew. Everyone who needed to knew. I didn't engage. I didn't reply. Didn't message. Angela didn't send back the ring either. It sat in a drawer for a while. Then I sold it, bought a coffee machine and a better mattress. Figured I might as well get something I'd actually use. I never explained myself to her family. What could I possibly say? She'd already written the breakup speech. All I did was say it first. I moved out a week later, found a smaller place across town. Quieter, clean slate, no shared closet, no dog-eared wedding binder on the bookshelf, no honeymoon brochures tucked under the mail, no waiting, just peace. It wasn't a loud peace, more like the quiet hum of solitude, the kind where you don't have to rehearse anything, where no one's timing your responses or editing your story before you get to tell it. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.